Hi, my name is Miss Teague, and I'm a children's librarian with the San Antonio Public Library. And I want to talk to you about origami. Origami is the Japanese art of folding paper, and origami literally means folding paper. And it dates all the way back to the late 17th century when people would fold paper into the shape of an animal or a plant or maybe a gem, and people would exchange these as gifts, maybe to mark a ceremonial occasion. Now, today, people mainly use origami as a hobby, but it can also be used to give gifts. I have a little story. When I was in the 7th grade, I had a friend fold a tiny little origami frog for me that I kept for probably 20 years before it was sadly lost in a move. But this was a special gift for several reasons. One, I was kind of obsessed with frogs at the time, so it was perfect gift. Two, and this goes for anything that's handmade by a friend or a family member, it was important because she had put a lot of thought and time into making something that she knew I would love. And three, this was kind of my first introduction into origami. I hadn't ever really seen it before, and it was amazing to me that you could take a piece of paper and just like that, or maybe a little more than just like that, you could turn it into something completely different. Now, origami can be incredibly intricate and difficult. It is an art form after all, but it can also be not so difficult and a lot of fun. And today we're going to make this little guy. He is a little origami dog. And before we begin, I wanted to go over a couple of things. First, you can buy origami paper. It looks kind of like this. You can buy it at craft stores, you can get it online, but what I actually really like to do is make my own paper by taking a ruler and paper and scissors and measuring something out and cutting it. And that something always is a square. It has to be a square shape because that makes your folds work evenly across the board. It's much easier to fold when it's a square shape. So that is what you will need, your paper and your folding hands. And just a couple of tips. Breathe, go slow. It can be a little frustrating at times to fold paper, but that's okay. It is paper, so if you do mess up, you can just throw it away. Also, paper is a lot more flexible and bendy than you might think it is, so don't be afraid to get in there and make some of those folds. You aren't going to rip the paper. Let's zoom in and make an origami dog. So what you need is your square sheet of paper, and what you're going to do is fold it in half to make a triangle. And I always seem to struggle a little bit with this step, but once I've got it, I will crease it and make that triangle. Then I'm going to fold my ears. I'm not going to line it up, but I'm going to overlap it just a little bit. If you'll see how I did that. I'll do the exact same thing on the other side and crease it. Then I'm going to fold up a little nose. It doesn't matter quite how far up you go. That looks about right to me. And I'll do the exact same thing on the other side. Then I'll flip it back over to the front and I'm going to fold down a tiny little triangle about halfway so the tip of it meets the bottom of that fold. And that's my nose. The only thing left to do is decorate it. My decoration's pretty simple. I just put 2 eyes and I color in my nose. And I have my dog. And that's it. That's how you can make an origami dog. Now, if you're watching this on our LibGuide, you can look below and see a whole bunch of information about origami, some books that we have, some websites, even a really cool app. If you're watching this on YouTube, head on over to mysapl.org and look at some information. And of course, if you'd like any more information about books or projects you can do with the San Antonio Public Library, go to www.mysapl.org or call 210-207-2500.